What's up, guys? It is John from Side Hustle Experiment. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm a six-figure Amazon seller. I do online arbitrage, formerly used to do bulk books, and I'm basically fully out of that. On this channel, I help you guys make money selling on Amazon. So in today's video, we're gonna just kind of do an update, what's going on with the business, things that I'm going through that you're going to eventually go through as you get bigger and as you scale. So I'm going to talk through that stuff with you guys now. And yeah, just kind of give you an update. I will get back to posting either 2 or 3 times regularly. It's just been a little crazy lately, and let's just get into it. So lately, it's been extremely busy. Been sourcing a lot. I got a new virtual assistant on the team, so I've been working closely with them. The original VA, he's pretty much up to speed. I don't really need to do a ton of hands-on stuff with him. Obviously, we keep in touch. I'm giving him feedback constantly on his leads. We probably get on Skype maybe once every other week, just kind of catch up, check in, see what's going on, make sure everything's cool. So the second one is a little not as advanced, I guess, or maybe the first one had some Amazon experience. This one does, but I'm used to a certain quality of leads and amount from the one I'm currently working with. So we're just gonna have to see how this all pans out, but they might be doing some more admin tasks. We'll see what happens with that. So that's taken up a lot of time. Been doing a lot of sourcing. I think last month we spent about 25 grand. This month we're probably on pace to do about 30-ish. If we get another big sale in there, that would be awesome. Hopefully Labor Day has some big sales and we could spend heavily then, because that would be awesome. Amazon is losing a ton of my inventory. Most of the stuff is going to a warehouse it's called IND9. Just craziness. They're literally just closing out shipments. So it'll be like 28 units were in a box and they closed the shipment and say 0 items arrived. And they've just been losing a ton of stuff. I was working with a refund service provider prior, and they are just doing a terrible job. So I got rid of them. I got another company that's, I don't know, it's just not working how I envisioned. A lot of the times they're asking to submit receipts, which is fine. I submit them receipts, but then it gets rejected automatically, which is super frustrating. Not to say I didn't care with books, because obviously you care, it's money and stuff like that. But with books, we're talking about stuff that's you're paying, I don't know, anywhere from $1 or $2 for. But now we're talking about things you're paying $30, $40 for, right? I mean, it really adds up. It's thousands and thousands of dollars that are being lost. But I am actually working. I spent a huge amount of time this week really kind of thinking through the process and kind of learning what Amazon is looking for when submitting these refunds, or to get refunded, to prove that they lost it. They really want you to prove that you actually bought the product, had ownership of the product. Another issue with this is I'm using a prep center. So while technically I bought the product, I never really had ownership of it, like in my possession, but the prep center did. So trying to work around stuff like that. I think I might have figured something out. I don't know, knock on wood. I really submitted about 4 or 5, resubmitted after they said they weren't gonna refund me. And they haven't closed those cases yet. So knock on wood, I'm hopeful that they will either acknowledge that they lost it and reimburse me, or just magically find it. It's just crazy. A lot, the way I'm doing it right now, obviously it will get faster. It's just a lot of putting together documents in a program called, oh God, now I can't think of what it was called. But basically it's like a screenshot software that is super helpful, and you're just kind of building exactly what kind of Amazon wants to see. I'm not doctoring anything at all. These are basically just like kind of screenshots from websites and orders and stuff like that, and just kind of pointing out some obvious information to kind of draw them to. So knock on wood, I don't know if it will help, but I'm fingers crossed that it does. If you know of a good refund place, definitely let me know. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, those tend to take about like an hour and a half. It's really just finding the information you need and putting it all together, making sure you're checking off everything Amazon wants. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if this does work, a lot of it was trial and error. A lot of the stuff I did prior, I sent and they rejected it right away. So that's kind of included in that time. But if I can nail down these templates, that is something that I could outsource. I also realized that I am not very organized when it comes to online arbitrage receipts. I have everything that goes just basically into email, but now as things are coming up, it's definitely a little more difficult to track this stuff down. Obviously I have it in email and I also have accounts that I could just go into, but yeah, it definitely would be easier if all the receipts were in one folder. But luckily I do keep very good notes. So I have a spreadsheet that has like the item, the date I bought it, the order number, the store, all that basic kind of stuff. I have a free download if you want it. It's the spreadsheet I use to track everything I buy for online arbitrage. It's totally free. It should be down in the links down there. So all I am really doing is taking the order number and searching through my email, and it's popping up right away. Again, I kind of go back and forth with this because hopefully there's not going to be a lot of problems like this in the future. I mean, of course they will lose stuff or whatnot, but I almost kind of weigh the idea of if you were to kind of put all the receipts and invoices and stuff like that in a Google Drive and stuff like that, almost is it worth it to take all that time to put those receipts in there? I would say like I've sold like thousands upon thousands of items and they're losing maybe 100 or so. So does it make sense to spend all that time? I don't know. I've gotten a couple IP complaints. And well, not a couple, I got 2 in the last 30-60 days. If you don't know what that is, basically a brand will say, hey, they're counterfeiting my product, hey, they're copyright infringing. Basically they don't want you selling their brand. Or it could actually be a customer. A lot of customers who buy stuff and don't want it anymore, they don't want to have to pay the shipping back, and usually they don't anyway. But instead of just selecting they don't want it or something like that, they'll select it's counterfeit, or I don't know, who knows what else. I've been able to beat all 3 or 4 of those, so that's been really good. Again, just a very time-consuming task. And now that I'm starting to really get the hang of how to work these out, the tool I was talking about before is called Snagit. Snagit is a great tool. Anyway, once I kind of get this stuff ironed out, I'm definitely going to have a VA help out do that, especially if I can't really find a service to do it for me. It sounds ridiculous. I've asked hundreds of people, maybe not hundreds, but just a ton of people I've been DMing with lately. No one really has a good service that they like. It's just very time consuming, especially with OA stuff. You really need the receipts. So I almost feel too is if I'm going to have to find the receipts, come up with them, kind of lay everything out, I might as well just do it myself and have a VA do it. Obviously I want to outsource as much as possible, but for this, and the other thing is I'm doing all this work and then I'm gonna have to pay them 25% of whatever they recover. And that's fine if I'm not doing anything, but if I have to get involved and start sending them receipts, start copy and pasting stuff, like that's just not something I want to do. And eventually, I don't know, we'll see what happens. But that's been taking up a lot of time. Sales have been somewhat decent now that stuff's checking in. There was actually an instant this week as well where someone reached out to me via like customer service. Like if they were a customer, they said, hey, you better stop selling our products or we're going to take action or whatever. And I posted it on Instagram and people are like, that's probably BS. And it's probably another seller. And it turns out it was. After a little bit more investigation, I was able to find out that the email address they kind of used for this case, the website never really existed. So fingers crossed nothing happens there, but just so stupid. I don't know why someone would do that. And plus, you're not really supposed to do that. So for instance, if a brand reaches out to you via customer messages like that, that's really against Amazon's terms of policy from what someone told me. Don't quote me on that. But if the brand wants to get a hold of you, they should basically be filing like an IP complaint, or I think there's something else they could file, and then basically communicating through you that way. So in this case, the guy basically took like the company's logo, like put it on there. It just looked kind of like sketchy and put together. I've gotten other people reach through, like some brands reached through the messages in the past, and they actually had like official letterhead and stuff like that. So just be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. I just hit this message does not need a response. This was probably a week ago, so nothing really happened there. So that is good. So just a heads up if that happens to you. What else is happening? Back to school has been pretty good. I definitely wish I've bought a lot heavier and a lot earlier. Again, it's a hard balance to have, because just like when last year was my first Q4 selling OA and stuff like that, besides books, I have a whole game plan in my head for what I want to do, products I'm going to be buying, products I'm not going to be buying. So yeah, first back to school, like anything else, your first time, you're like, damn, like I wish I did this, I wish I bought more of that. I'm already thinking about stuff like before, Christmas. Like fourth quarter is not just Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, it's other holidays, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm really starting to think about some grocery stuff that people might be buying, and stuff like that. But yeah, so kind of doing that. Q4 was great. Back to school has been pretty good. Still have some more time with that. Mainly, a lot of the stuff that's being sold is kind of like the things you think of: backpacks, clothing, pens, pencils. I actually didn't sell any pencils, but pens. Pretty much anything you would think. Think when you were a kid and you went back to school shopping, would you want to buy, or would your parents buy you, or whoever. That's the kind of stuff that's selling right now. And with that, there's lots of great sales that's going on around that. Lots of big clothing brands just slashing prices like crazy. Like prices where it's almost like the listing would almost be impossible to tank. I mean, knock on wood, that is true, but I've never seen prices this low. Obviously, I just said I've never done back to school, but I have been doing a lot of apparel lately, and yeah, I've never seen sales like this. So definitely next year, I made myself a note to buy heavier, and that's one thing I've been doing too. I'm starting to get with it. There's a software called Notion, and basically it's just like this huge notebook. It's super confusing. I still haven't figured it out yet, but I just like it because I could kind of organize thoughts. And really what I'm doing is kind of jotting down like so like August, I have a tab for August, and I'm just putting down all the sales that have been going on, some of the sales I shopped, some notes about the sales to like kind of be on the lookout for next year. Who knows if they'll happen next year, but it would definitely be helpful to think like, you know what I mean? There's a sale this time last year. Like, I'm going to kind of gear up for that. I'm going to start looking at that website to see, if they're going to mark it down 30 or 40%. I'm going to pretend like it is marked down at that. And then the first day of the sale, I'm going to go crazy and just kind of buy everything up. So making notes like that. So that's always good to kind of track sales like that. And yeah, just kind of getting ready. a lot of people said they're gearing up for Q4, and like I get that, but a lot of what that means is just, you know, they're starting to look at stuff. Maybe they're buying some clearance toys and stuff like that. This worked Q4 for me. I didn't chase a ton of Bolo toys last year, but some of the ones I did just didn't pan out. So I'm not going to be doing that this year. I'm just going to be doing a lot more of what's actually working. For Q4, for those of you who don't know, basically the volume just shoots up on everything. So whether you're selling Christmas goods or whatever you're selling, the basics is more people are going to Amazon, more people are spending money, and your sales will definitely go up. So I'm definitely going to just do more of what's working, take a look at last year, what is working, what's not working. I did write down some of the sales that were happening, so I'm going to kind of review those and kind of do some planning with that. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on, guys. Just kind of want to give you an update. I have a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm doing some interviews with some bigger sellers, so look out for those. And yeah, I think I'm gonna just try to bring on some more people on the channel. Might start going live a little bit more. Maybe even get a VA to help edit content to make it better. But yeah, that's what's going on. Drop a comment. Let me know what's going on with you. How's everything? If you have any questions or you want me to make any videos, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. And I'll see you guys in the next video.